Warning: these 7 plants may look absolutely beautiful at first glance, but don't be fooled. They can quietly wreck your yard this fall. Some of them spread like wildfire and take over your garden before you even realize what's happening. Others attract destructive pests that will linger long after the season is over. And a few are so dangerous they could even put your pets and children at risk. Before you plant a single bulb, shrub, or tree this fall, you need to know exactly which ones to avoid. Because once they're in the ground, the damage they cause can take years and hundreds of dollars to undo. So here's my advice. Stick with me all the way to the end of this video, because I'll not only show you the 7 plants to steer clear of, I'll also share smarter, safer alternatives you can plant instead. Trust me, you'll thank yourself when your garden comes back stronger next season. And hey, if you love saving time, money, and frustration in your garden, hit that subscribe button right now. Join a community of gardeners who are learning how to avoid costly mistakes and grow healthier, more beautiful yards. You don't want to miss what's coming up. Let's kick things off with a plant that almost every beginner gardener thinks is a good idea: English ivy. On the surface, it looks lush, elegant, and timeless. People imagine it climbing up fences or trailing beautifully over stone walls like something straight out of a cottage garden magazine. But here's the ugly truth. English ivy is one of the most invasive plants you could ever bring into your yard. Once it takes hold, it doesn't politely stay in one corner. No, it spreads aggressively across the ground, smothers flower beds, and latches onto trees. And once it climbs those trees, it strangles them, weakens their bark, and leaves them vulnerable to disease and storm damage. If you've ever tried to rip English ivy out once it's established, you already know the nightmare. It digs its roots deep into soil, fences, and brickwork, making it nearly impossible to remove completely. Even if you think you've pulled it all out, a few tiny roots left behind will send up new shoots within weeks. This isn't just a plant you'll regret, it's a plant that can cost you years of frustration and hundreds of dollars in repairs to your yard, fences, and trees. So here's my question for you. Have you ever fought with English ivy in your yard? Did you manage to get rid of it, or is it still coming back year after year? Tell me in the comments below, because I know I'm not the only one who's battled this plant. Next up is a tree that garden centers practically push on homeowners every single year: the Bradford Pear. At first glance, it seems like a dream tree. In early spring, it explodes with clouds of white blossoms. In fall, its leaves turn shades of fiery red and orange. It grows quickly, it's affordable, and it looks picture perfect. But looks can be deceiving. Bradford pears are a ticking time bomb in your yard. The problem starts with their structure. They grow with very narrow, weak branch angles. That means when storms roll through, and they always do, the branches split apart under their own weight. One good windstorm, and suddenly you've got massive limbs crashing down onto your yard, your car, or even your roof. And it doesn't stop there. This tree is notorious for producing invasive seedlings that spread across neighborhoods and fields. In many parts of the country, Bradford pears are considered a serious ecological problem because they crowd out native trees and destroy biodiversity. So while it might look tempting when you see it in bloom at the nursery, I promise you, this is not a tree you want anywhere near your property. It's like planting a short-term decoration that turns into a long-term liability. If you're dreaming of a beautiful, flowering tree that actually lasts, go with a native alternative. Serviceberry trees give you delicate white blossoms in spring and bright berries for birds in summer. Or try a redbud. They burst into a breathtaking cloud of pink and purple flowers, and unlike the Bradford pear, they won't split apart and destroy your yard. So next time you see a Bradford pear on sale, do yourself and your garden a favor. Walk away. Number 5 might surprise you, because ornamental grasses are often marketed as a stylish, low-maintenance option for fall landscapes. The catalogs and garden centers love to show them swaying gracefully in the breeze, glowing golden at sunset. It all looks picture perfect. But here's the reality. Many varieties of ornamental grasses, especially the non-native invasive ones like pampas grass and certain miscanthus species, can turn into a gardener's worst headache. In the fall, those once pretty plumes quickly dry out, collapse, and turn into a brown, brittle mess. Instead of a stunning focal point, you're left with what looks like a pile of hay sitting in your yard. And that's not the only problem. Those dry, dead stalks are incredibly flammable. In dry climates, they become fire hazards right next to your home. They also spread seeds aggressively, often hitching a ride on the wind into your neighbors' yards, empty lots, or local fields where they can take over natural habitats. Another hidden downside? Once established, some of these grasses send down deep, tough root systems that are nearly impossible to dig out. Gardeners often say it's like trying to dig up concrete. So instead of being low maintenance, you're actually signing up for hours of back-breaking work and constant cutting back every single year. Now let me ask you this. Have you ever planted one of those big box store ornamental grasses only to regret it a season later? If you have, you know exactly what I mean. They look good in the shopping cart but turn into regret by winter. Drop a comment if you've dealt with this before. So what should you plant instead? Go with native ornamental grasses that actually benefit your yard and local ecosystem. Switchgrass, little blue stem, or fountain grass varieties provide movement and texture without the invasiveness. They're attractive through all 4 seasons, support pollinators and wildlife, and won't leave you with a fire hazard come November. Ornamental grasses can be beautiful, but only when you choose the right kind. Skip the invasives, and you'll thank yourself later. Coming in at number 4 is a tree that many people still buy without realizing the hidden consequences, the Norway Maple. At first, it seems like a gardener's dream. It grows quickly, creates a dense canopy of shade, and looks almost identical to the beloved sugar maple. For homeowners wanting fast shade, it's an easy sell. But here's the problem. Norway maples are like the bullies of the tree world. Their root systems are extremely aggressive. They spread wide and shallow, sucking up water and nutrients from the surrounding soil. That means your flower beds, your grass, even your other trees will constantly struggle to compete. If you've ever wondered why nothing will grow under a maple tree, chances are it's because it's a Norway maple stealing everything for itself. On top of that, their dense canopy blocks out so much sunlight that the ground beneath becomes barren. Instead of a shady retreat, you end up with a patch of dirt where no grass or garden plants can survive. It may give you shade in the short term, but it robs your yard of diversity and beauty in a long run. And here's another kicker. Norway maples produce a massive amount of seeds, those little helicopter-like samaras. They blow everywhere, sprouting into unwanted seedlings all over your lawn, flower beds, and driveway cracks. Keeping up with them feels like an endless chore. Some states have even listed Norway maples as invasive because they outcompete native trees and woodlands. So planting one in your yard doesn't just create headaches for you, it can impact your entire local ecosystem. So here's my challenge for you. Have you noticed bare, lifeless patches in your yard under a big tree? If so, let me know below. It might be a Norway maple causing the problem. Instead of this troublemaker, consider planting a sugar maple for brilliant fall color, or a red maple for vibrant shades of crimson. Both grow strong, support native wildlife, and won't leave you with a fire hazard come November. Norway maples promise quick shade, but in reality, it steals the health and beauty of your yard. Number 3 is one that tricks a lot of gardeners, the Autumn Crocus. Now, at first glance, it looks like a dream plant. You see these delicate lilac-pink blooms popping up just as most flowers are fading in the fall. They bring color when your garden needs it most. Sounds perfect, right? But here's what most people don't realize. The autumn crocus is highly toxic. Every part of this plant, from the bulbs underground to the flowers above, contains a compound called colchicine. And while it's used in medicine in very controlled doses, in your garden it can be deadly. Pets who nibble on it, kids who play nearby, even adults who accidentally handle it and rub their eyes are all at risk of poisoning. Now think about this. Many gardeners plant autumn crocus specifically near walkways and patios because they want to enjoy that fall pop of color. That puts the plant right where pets and people are most likely to come into contact with it. It's a hidden danger, disguised as beauty. And beyond the toxicity, autumn crocus can also confuse gardeners.
It pops up in fall when most other bulbs are long gone, and if you don't label where you planted them, you might accidentally disturb the bulbs while digging in spring. It's a plant that requires constant caution, and for many of us, it's just not worth the risk. Have you ever grown autumn crocus before? Did you know about its toxicity before planting it? Let me know down in the comments. I'd love to hear if this plant fooled you too. Now, if you still want that splash of color in the fall, there are plenty of safer choices. Saffron crocus, for example, offers gorgeous blooms and even produces the spice saffron. Talk about a useful flower. Or plant fall-blooming asters and hardy chrysanthemums that bring vibrant purples and golds without the hidden dangers. The autumn crocus is a classic case of beauty masking risk. Skip it and your garden will be just as colorful and far safer. All right, let's talk about one of the most common fall mistakes. Those big, beautiful mums you see stacked by the dozens outside every grocery store, hardware store, and garden center. I'm talking about those giant, colorful pots of chrysanthemums that seem to shout, "It's fall, buy me!" Here's the truth. Most of those mums are grown in greenhouses, force-bloomed out of season, and sold as disposable decor. Yes, they look amazing for a few weeks, but by the time you set them on your porch or plant them in your yard, they're already at the end of their life cycle. Within a month, the flowers fade, the foliage turns brown, and you're left with a sad, dead plant. Even worse, most of these mums are not bred to survive the winter. Garden centers know this. They're counting on you buying new ones every single year. And while you're busy replacing them, your wallet gets lighter and your garden fills with wasted plants. Now let me ask you, how many times have you bought one of those big box mums only to find yourself tossing it in the compost a few weeks later? I know it's happened to almost everyone at least once. Drop a comment if you've ever fallen for the mum marketing trap. But here's the good news. Not all mums are bad. If you buy hardy mums, sometimes called garden mums, from a local nursery, you'll get plants that can actually root into your soil, come back year after year, and put on a reliable fall show. Another great alternative is planting asters. They're perennials, pollinator-friendly, and they provide the same vibrant color with far more staying power. So here's the rule of thumb. If you want a temporary splash of color for a party or a porch decoration, sure, grab a pot of those big box mums. But if you want lasting beauty in your garden, skip the throwaways and invest in hardy varieties that will reward you for years to come. And here we are, number 1 on the list of plants you should absolutely avoid adding to your yard this fall, the infamous burning bush. Now, I know what you're thinking. Every fall, these shrubs explode into a fiery blaze of red leaves that looks breathtaking. They line driveways, fill garden beds, and make entire neighborhoods look like they're glowing. It's no wonder so many gardeners are tempted to plant them. But beneath that beauty lies one of the most destructive shrubs you can bring into your landscape. Burning bush is not just colorful, it's invasive. Its berries are eaten by birds, and those seeds get spread for miles. Soon, new burning bushes pop up in forests, fields, and roadsides, choking out native plants. Entire ecosystems suffer as this shrub takes over, leaving wildlife with fewer food sources and reducing biodiversity. Once it's in your yard, it doesn't politely stay in one place. Burning bush grows aggressively, sending out dense root systems and forming thick thickets. And here's the kicker. Many states have actually banned or restricted its sale because of the damage it causes. Yet it still shows up at nurseries and big box stores, tricking homeowners who simply don't know better. So let me ask you this. Have you ever walked through a park or woodland and noticed huge patches of the same red shrub dominating the understory? Chances are that was burning bush doing its silent damage. If you've seen this before, let me know in the comments, because gardeners sharing these stories helps spread awareness. But here's the silver lining. You don't need burning bush to get that gorgeous fall color. Native alternatives like viburnum or oakleaf hydrangea provide brilliant shades of red and burgundy in autumn, but unlike burning bush, they provide food and habitat for wildlife. You get the same eye-popping color with none of the ecological damage. So take it from me, no matter how tempting it looks in autumn, leave the burning bush out of your yard. Your garden and your local ecosystem will be far healthier without it. All right, we've talked about the plants you definitely want to avoid this fall, but I don't want to leave you with just a list of don'ts. Let's turn things around and look at the smarter choices you should be planting instead. Because fall is actually one of the best times of the year to garden. The soil stays warm even as the air cools, which gives new plants time to develop strong root systems before winter. And when spring comes around, they'll burst out of the ground healthier and stronger than anything you plant in the heat of summer. So, what are some great alternatives to those problem plants? First, if you were tempted by burning bush for its fiery fall color, go with oak leaf hydrangea or native viburnum instead. Both turn brilliant shades of red, burgundy, or even deep purple in autumn, but unlike burning bush, they provide food and habitat for wildlife. You get the same eye-popping color with none of the ecological damage. If you were considering ornamental grasses, try switchgrass or little bluestem. These natives bring texture and movement to your garden, plus they stay attractive even in winter with beautiful seed heads that feed birds. They're hardy, well-behaved, and won't leave you battling invasive roots.
Looking for pops of fall flowers? Skip the disposable mums from big box stores and instead plant hardy mums from a local nursery or vibrant asters. Both will come back year after year and give you reliable color that actually lasts. Bees and butterflies will thank you too. And here's one of my personal favorites for fall planting, Sedum Autumn Joy. It's tough, drought-resistant, and explodes with clusters of pink flowers that deepen to bronze in late fall. It's practically indestructible, and it looks amazing well into the season. Now, let me give you a quick pro tip that will save you frustration. When you're planting this fall, focus on preparing the soil just as much as choosing the plant. Add organic compost, mulch the top, and water deeply right after planting. This gives your new plants a head start so they'll survive the winter and explode with growth in the spring. So here's the takeaway. Fall is a time for planting smart. Skip the flashy, problem-causing plants and instead choose hardy, native, and pollinator-friendly options. Not only will your yard look incredible, but you'll be building a garden that lasts for years to come. So let's do a quick recap. The 7 plants you'll want to avoid adding to your yard this fall are English ivy, Bradford pear, invasive ornamental grasses, Norway maple, the toxic autumn crocus, those throwaway big box mums, and of course, the infamous burning bush. Each one might look appealing at first, but now you know the hidden risks. Invasiveness, weak structures, fire hazards, toxins, wasted money, or ecological damage. Avoiding them means saving yourself years of frustration and building a healthier, more beautiful garden instead. Now, I want to hear from you. What's the worst plant mistake you've ever made in your yard? Was it one of the 7 I just mentioned, or something completely different? Share your story in the comments because your experience might help another gardener avoid the same trap. And if you found this video helpful, hit that like button and subscribe right now so you don't miss my next Garden Smart guide. Thanks for watching, and remember, the smartest gardens are the ones planted with care.